Hello friends, today we are going to learn about research methodology. So we will be starting with the first topic, first chapter, which is a small introduction and some examples of research methodology. In research methodology, we have done maximum things practically in our daily lives. We will be always doing it regularly, but many of them are not being properly known by us. We do not know maximum details or scientific name of those. Many steps we follow in our daily lives, like purchasing a mobile phone or deciding in which college we should get admission, else some examples like in which restaurant we should go for food. So these are some of the small things that we use or implement a step-by-step analysis and decision making. So let's see what is the meaning of research first of all. A scientific research for suitable information on a specific topic is a meaning of research, or can be said a small definition of research. Many researchers have their own idea, their own thought, their own process of explanation for what is meaning of research. So systematic search means a specific step-by-step implementation, analysis, and then finding out the truth, what to be done for a research. So second definition we can understand is a careful investigation or inquiry, especially through search for few facts in any branch of knowledge. So when we say uh, we want to search something or we want to get a knowledge of something which is unknown to us right now, we are not aware of that. So that kind of specific problem will be understood by understanding, reading more and more, finding out lot many examples of that, discussing with many people, gathering more knowledge, surfing through internet. We can achieve lots of knowledge. Some of that can be a part of what we were expecting as a search or a knowledge for our own research. So this can be another fact or another definition for a research. Redman and Mori said that systemized efforts to gain a new knowledge can also be said as a research. Systemized, first step is what is a first step is to understand what is research, or what is the topic of research, what is the problem statement. After understanding that, we can go for analyzing whether this particular problem really exists or not. Has anyone worked on it? If yes, then either we can improve or we can neglect the problem and go for a new problem. So this can be a step-by-step process known as systematic efforts for gaining a new knowledge. But in my point of view, or what I think is, search a solution, a process, method for some specific problem is a real research. Searching means finding out the facts. Solution, there are lot many problems which are not known, not yet solved. If we look at those problems and try to solve them properly for a better and good output, then that can be considered as research. In other process, many problems have been solved, but the output what we achieved with those problems for those problems, it may not be 100% corrected. 100% correct output for any problem is almost not possible. But improving the output which has been achieved is possible. So many problems are solved, like thumb recognition or face recognition or many more. So in those cases, the output is not 100%. So we got a space, we got an opportunity, we got a chance to improve those problems. So how can we do it? We can get the already solved solutions. Try to find out what are the problems, what are the drawbacks of those, or where can we find a chance to improve it. So this is known as a process or a problem solving method that we want to change, with which we can get a better output of the problem that we are expecting. Then this method or a process can be changed. Let's say that we got a problem for solve already solved problem. Let's say a sugarcane industry. We have got, if we want to get a sugar from a sugar cane, then we need to set up an industry around uh, which cost around crores. So we can have our own new method or a process which will provide us the same quality output as sugar, but the process of creating, generating sugar may be changed. We can make a portable device. We can change the process of boiling, etc., etc. What are the steps involved in the sugarcane industry? If we change the process, but the output should be same or more better. So in this case, we can say that this method of uh, research can be changed. So we can conclude for this meaning of research is a search for solution, process, method for some specific problem can be changed, which is known as a meaning of research. Objectives of research. When we say that we want to go for a research or we want to achieve something, then we should be very much clear that what is the objective of our own research. Objective of a research is to find out a truth which is hidden and which is not been discovered as yet. So I already said there are lot many problems which are not yet solved, and the world is running behind all those problems. They are trying very hard to find out the solution of all those problems. But all these problems and methods are yet to be discovered. For that, the familiarity of phenomenon or to achieve a new insight into it means already the problem is available. People are trying to solve it very hard, but they are not able to get it. So can we have our own method, new uh, eye or new method with which we can look at the problem in a very different way, try to understand it properly, which they are not able to. With this, we can achieve a new insight into that problem and try to solve it correctly. So this can be an objective, or if we just find a new insight, a way to look at the problem very properly, then we can tell the people that this can be another way, this can be a new method. So our research objective can be this. Then the other objective can be our research is to find out a proper structure of a research. The research can be, or the research definition can be vague, can be anything, can be large. So we can have a proper framework to our research. If we do that, that also is very much helpful for the people who are looking to solve the same problem, to portray accurately the characteristics of a particular individual situation or a group. So if we are looking for a huge problem, so we can frame it, identify the actual exact situation on which we are supposed to work. That can be an objective of our research. Then to determine the frequency with which something occurs, or with which it is associated with something else. So we can find out some new insight, some new way of looking to that particular problem. If somebody else has not found out that this particular problem or this particular event happens multiple times, many times, so we can identify it, we can account it, we can note down, we can enlarge it, we can record it. That can be a help for solving the problem. Then the final objective can be to test a hypothesis of a causal relationship between variables. Here the variable meaning is maybe a input and output, maybe a dependent and independent entities, maybe a two ends for which we need to define a path which says that this particular output can be achieved with this particular process, or the treatment will be provided to a input variable. So this can be a properly defined process for defining a relationship between one end and the other end of the variables, or the two ends or two different entities. These are the types or the topics which can be defined as an objective of a research. Those who have achieved the PhD degree, then they might have settled in their own profession. But we are desire to get it. So if we get a degree, we'll get either promotion or a good job or good switch over also. So this can be a motivation. Second, many of us are really interested to face the real time challenges which people are facing, people are trying to solve. For them, it can be a motivation. So they will try to get a hard problem, try to work harder on that particular problem, and will try to get the solution as early as possible with all the efforts they can put for solving the problem. So some people will work for research as a joy. They will find this particular research is a enjoyment. A problem solving methods can be considered as a new creativity to them. So they always look their problem, their research as a new creativity, and they keep on doing a work as an enjoyment. The next desire can be, the next motivation can be desire to be of a service to a society. See, nowadays everybody is facing COVID-19 problem, and we are not able to go out of our houses. But there are researchers who are trying to find a trying to find a solution for this COVID-19. It's not just a matter of finding a solution as a vaccine on this particular uh, COVID-19, but there are people who are trying to find out how to uh, stay at home and learn new things, how to stay at home safely and discuss and arrange meeting on different tools and methods. There are people who are trying to find a new methods to deliver a grocery at houses There are people who are trying to find a new technology for making a world move. So it's not just a matter of one thing, but those are so many related things which can help the society if we work or find a new solution on the problems. Then to get a respect from the people can also be a motivation. Many people uh, will work on multiple problems. We know there are people in the society who got a PhD once, twice, even three times. So this can be a motivation for them. So whatever it is, if you are motivated, if people are motivated, then only the research can go on. There are different types of research. So we can classify them in different types. First is descriptive versus analytical. Descriptive type of research has lot much explanation, details, and how the process of research has been done. So the outcome of that research is quite not a numerical output. That can be useful in different situations with which we can make a decision and can be useful for understanding the meaning or the insight of that particular research. Whereas the analytical research will be more effective in understanding the difference, the betterment, or the limitations as well as the shortcomings of some entity which are used in research. So these type of research will have lot much use in banking sector as well as in engineering sector, and uh, wherever the actual or the to the point research or to the point decision is required, in those kind of research, analytical process or research type is very important. The second class or second type is applied versus fundamental. Fundamental is a basic research which is generalized type. The people who are working in physics, chemistry, and the basic sciences are working in this kind of research, which is known as fundamental research. That research is generalized. That research is applicable to all. They really do not provide the actual result or actual application, actual use of the problem. But the importance of research is very, 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 very effective in the future or to lot many people. The applied research is a, a specific problem that can be solved as per the need of the requirement. Some of the example can be defined in engineering field, mechanical engineering, civil engineering, computer engineering, and lot many can be considered in applied research. Then we have quantitative versus qualitative research. Quantity is how many number of accounts, how many number of items, how many number of uh, events that happens, and what is the frequency of that, why does it happen, what is the necessity of that. If it happens lesser than the desired time, then what is the effect of that. If it doesn't happen to the expected outcome, then what will be the problem. So these kind of problems will be effective and useful in quantitative research. The share market, then the population, increase in population, and the number of people who are dying, it means the birth ratio can also be considered in this quantitative research. Whereas qualitative research is accuracy, where the research in which we are expecting a lot of accurate things, uh, the speed, the performance, then the result of any entity, which will be more important in accuracy than the quantity, then this qualitative research is the type of this research can be considered. The next is conceptual versus empirical. Conceptual, where people are having their the idea, the the theory which they want to prove with their own ideas, like a mathematical term or the explanation what they have with that method. They will try to prove, or they will try to judge the idea or a concept. That is considered as conceptual research. Empirical research is actual implementation, actual observations, what is going on. You are observing it, you are accounting it, then analyzing, and then defining that why this happens and what is the outcome of it. That those kind of research is considered under empirical research. Then we also have field setting research and laboratory research. Field setting research is you are actually going on a field, observing it, finding out, noting all the findings and outcomes. Those kind of research are considered under field research. But we also have a type of research where we can simulate. We cannot go to the field, but we can module it. We can make a small, a similar type of environment, and that environment can be used for implementing the ideas, the concepts, and finding out the facts after the treatment is known as laboratory research. Historical research, where we have lot many things written in a documentation in a history that can be considered, understood, and analyzed, is known as historical research. Clinical or diagnostic research is a medical related research where people will keep themselves busy in implementing or finding out the facts of the problems on which they are working. So these are the type of research. Then research approach, quantitative approach and a qualitative approach. We already have seen the quantitative research and a qualitative research. The quantitative research and qualitative research is a process or method with which we can achieve the qualitative research and quantitative research. But further, they are also classified in inferential, experimental, and simulation-based approaches. First is the research approach, whether it is qualitative or quantitative. The relation of that research, the variables, the input and output will be defined with some relation, and this process is used for finding out the outcomes, is known as one type of research, is known as inferential research approach. Then we have experimental. We actually go on a field, we'll try to face all the real-time problems, try to experiment it, provided some treatment in on the outputs, and get achieve the desired output. That kind of research approach is known as experimental approach. But this is not possible always. We cannot go on a field always. So these kind of researches have their own importance. But when we are not able to go on a field and get the desired output or experiment it, then what we do is we'll create an environment in the laboratory. So that environment is somewhat similar to the environment which is actually available on field. The samples will be collected, Those samples are actually experimented in the laboratory, known as simulated environment, or somebody can say it as artificial environment. We will provide some treatment to the uh, items or the elements or the samples that we have collected, note down the observations, and all the observations can be considered or justified as a result of your experiments. This kind of method is known as a simulation based approach, research approach. The significance of research: first is decision making. Maximum researches are done for decision making. So the outcome of the every research, maximum research, will help the person or an important on an important issue to make a very specific decision. uh, Government maximum times can apply uh, providing help to the farmers in a drought. So who will be eligible person to whom the help should be provided? For that, if we go for a research on this particular topic, then we have to collect much information from different villages, the farmers, get the information, what is the uh, land, how much he has a land, what he what kind of fertilizers he used, what kind of seeds he used, what is uh, his income in the last 2 years, 5 years, then what is a water supply facility available in his village. So all these entities are collected all together. Then a particular set of group of people will be analyzed and separated depending on the conditions to whom the help can be provided from a government. So this is a small example of decision making. So this decision making is always applicable in autonomous as well as manual processes. So this decision making process is available in almost every uh, research. Then second is problem solving. Many unknown problems are available. So we have to find out the problems and try to apply new methods on that with which a solution can be generated. So this solution can also be used for decision making, but here the solution of a new problem itself is an innovative thing, itself is a new thing which can be accepted by a society or a person to which the problem is related. Next, finding a relation between known and unknown entities. Previously, we were not knowing many of the things in basic sciences, like relation between speed and acceleration, the speed and the braking systems. So all these relations have been identified, made known to the people, so that people can work on it and go for further studies. So these are few examples. It's not actual research, but I'm just telling you the some small examples with which you can understand how to define a relation between a known and unknown variables. Then importance of research in finding a new and effective processes for a research. See, previously we were conducting this course itself offline, where people used to sit all together and we'll have a discussion on research methodology and computer application. But this effective process, online process, has been generated, which was not available 20 years before, is also known as an effective process, which are which is able to generate the same or maybe better effective output. So research can be done for finding new processes, making things better. So I am talking to you 10 years, 50 years. The things were not available. People has to go from one location to another location just to uh, meet a person. So research will help to improve the things, make the things better, making things very effective, very usable with the help of research. Now we understood the importance of research, the research methods. Now let's look at the research and scientific methods used in research. Once we found out the problem, once we know that on this particular problem we are supposed to work on, so this is what the research topic is, then what we do, we will find out a data and experimentation is done. The experimentation is done to define the hypothesis, what we have explained, what we have noted. So we need to justify that the output should be like this, or if output is already defined, then my process is better than the previously used processes. But this will not be always accepted by people. What people will do, people will go through your result, they will criticize, they will say this is not okay, this is not what we were expecting, this should be better, or this is not uh, applicable to some specific field. Okay, you have done it, but this is your own assumption, this is applicable in your own area, this is applicable in some defined environment, but this cannot be accepted. So to avoid this kind of situations, to overcome this kind of problems, what we need to do is consider the following points. First is objective of research. Define what really you want to achieve from the research. What is expected? What is desired? What is the objective? Note down all the objectives of research. Then empirical evidences, the actual facts. When you are experimenting, does this experiment is done in a simulated environment or on a practical environment? If it is done in a simulated environment, then you also try to implement in a practical environment. If this experiment is done on some particular specific module or some particular specific data, then the same experiment, can it be implemented on different type of data, different type of environment? If this particular experiment is done on some specific time in the morning, will it be applicable in the evening? So all these facts should be applied while experimenting the research programs, research problems, and that will help you to overcome all the situations which can be criticized by the people. Okay, now the research process. Now, this particular diagram will help you to understand all the points from starting to end, how the research flow will be implemented. First is define the research problem. First of all, I think till now everybody has defined the research problem, but if you have done it well, no problem. For those who have not done it, for them, define a research problem. Defining a research problem means defining a huge, first of all, define a broad area, then go for finding out smaller and smaller insight into it, and go for a specific topic on which you really want to work. Then the second stage is review concept and the already defined things. Go and read the theories what people have written. Is known as literature review. Many people might have written lots of book on it, many research papers, many things on a net you can find. So the fact is, if you are if you have decided to work on some specific topic and already people have implemented it, then there is no use of implementing or executing the project or a research. If people have done some part of it, then it's very nice. You can use it and go further for implementing a new outcomes of that. So for all these things, this will help. This will also help you to compare your research with already implemented things. So you can prove your success, prove your result, which are better than the previously implemented research contents. Once you do a literature survey, then third stage is formulate hypothesis. What are you expecting? What will be the outcome? How you are going to generate? What do you claim that to be implemented in your research? You do it. It's known as formulating a hypothesis. Then the next part is design a research. Designing a research means how you are going to proceed, what kind of data you are going to use. If the data is being very huge, then are you going to use some part of it, some samples of it, or a huge data? Whether you are going to implement a project or a research on field or in a simulated model, you define it, you design it, you think on it. So this is known as designing a research. The next is collect a data. Get a data, gather a data, and then apply it for analyzing a data. This is an actual experimentation. So this experimentation is done for justifying your hypothesis, what you have done in point 3, because that is what you are supposed to achieve finally. If it works fine, this is real-time experimentation. If this experimentation works fine, then generate a report. But if it doesn't go well, then feedback is expected. You are supposed to show your report, your results to the people, to your colleagues, and if they say that it's not as per the expectation, then go back, recollect the data, then again experiment it, then generate a report. If it is not well, do it again and again and again until you get a expected best performance, and you record that best performance into your report. So this is how the research process will really go on, and this will help you to, if you apply all these stages, then your research will be very efficient and very effective. Then we will define that quality of a good research. The quality of a good research has few important points. The purpose of good research should be the research procedure used should be described in sufficient details to everyone. So when you define a research procedure, when you go for a research, then step-by-step implementation of a process of a research is done. So this procedure you need to define, because this procedure itself can be innovative. And if someone will not be able to understand your research, he cannot go further. You already have done a literature survey. Those people have recorded it well. They have done a recording procedure. The details have been recorded very well. That is why you understood the complete research project what people have done, and if they have done it well, you can understand. And now if you write it well, then the further or many people can understand it well. So for that, for a society, for the people who are working in the same area, they should be able to understand what is your research, what is the process of research, what is outcome you have achieved. You do the recording, the documentation very well and provide it to all. The procedural design of a research should be carefully planned. If you want a good quality output, then you design it first, a step-by-step process with which a research will be carried out. And if you do it very carefully, then definitely the outcome or the result will be very nicely generated. Then analysis of data should be appropriate. So when you are having a lots of data, you should analyze in such a way that it should generate a very quality output, or the result should affect. It has been seen many times. The data analysis, if the rules are not properly applied on a data, then it may generate some other result which is not as per your expectation. So analyzing data and the rules defined for that are very important. Next is validity and reliability of a data should be checked carefully. The data which you are using for your experimentation should be authenticated. Otherwise, it will not be considered. It will be considered as if it's your own assumption, it's your own environment, it's your own facts and findings, which may not be applicable to other situation, other people, other locations, or may not be accepted by people. So that is why you should check whether the data you are using for your experimentation is very authentic, which is validated by some authority. Once you experiment it, you should write a justification in a conclusion very properly. So we have understood the research methodology in detail very well. We understood the facts and findings of research methodology in detail. So I want you to think on this research methodology first chapter, read it carefully, and then this is an assignment for you. What are the different type of research? You note down yourself. If you don't understand, you can go through the video one more time and find out the answer. Thank you.